Hello students, welcome to this course of global history. And the first, the first chapter for this course is ancient history. So in this chapter, you are going to understand the origins and development of early civilizations, cultures, ideas, and institutions that have shaped human society and continue to influence the modern world. So these are also the objectives for this chapter. Let's look at the overview for this chapter. So, ancient history is the time period from the beginning of writing and recorded human history through the late antiquity. So, the span of recorded history is roughly uh, 5,000 years, beginning with the development of Sumerian script. So also the ancient history covers all continents inhabited by human beings in the period between 3000 BC to 500 AD, ending with the expansion of Islam. So there is the three-age system periodizes ancient history into the Stone Age, the Bronze Age, and the Iron Age, with recorded history generally considered to begin with the Bronze Age. So the start and end of three ages vary between world regions. So also in many regions, the Bronze Age is generally considered to begin a few centuries prior to 3000 BC, while the end of Iron Age varies from the early first millennium BC in some regions to the late first millennium AD in others. So let us look at the concept of prehistory. So prehistory is the period before written history. So most of our knowledge of that period comes from the work of archaeologists and the early human migrations in the lower Paleolithic saw Homo erectus spread across Eurasia, and that was 1.8 million years ago. So also the evidence for the use of fire has been dated as early as 1.8 million years ago, a date which is contested with the generally accepted evidence from the controlled use of fire dating to 780 years ago. So the actual use of hearths first appears 400,000 years ago. So also the dates for emergence of human beings range from 250 years to 160 years ago, with the varying dates being based on DNA studies and fossils respectively. And also some 50,000 years ago, human beings migrated out of Africa. So they reached Australia about 45,000 years ago. Then they also reached in southwestern Europe about the same time. Then southeastern Europe and Siberian around 40,000 years ago, and Japan about 30,000 years ago. And also humans migrated to the America about uh, 15 years ago. So let us look at history by region. So we are going to start with ancient Near East. So the ancient Near East is considered as the cradle of civilization. So it was the first to practice intensive year-round agriculture, and it created one of the most coherent rating systems. They also created the first centralized governments. They created law codes and empires, as well as displaying social stratification. They did slavery and organized warfare. They didn't stop from here. They also began the study of the stars and the sciences of astronomy and mathematics. So also going to Iranian peoples. So the Medes and the Persians were people who had appeared in the Iranian plateau around 1500 BC. Both people spoke Indo-European languages and were mostly pastoralists with a traditional of horse archery. So the Medes established their own Median Empire by the 6th century BC, having defeated the Neo-Assyrian Empire with the Chaldeans in 614 BC. So let us look at the Hittites. So the Hittites first came to Anatolia about 1900 BC, but from the period of 1500 to 1600, they had expanded into Mesopotamia. So they improved two earlier technologies from Mesopotamia and spread these new techniques widely and improved ironworking and laid chariots with spoked wheels in warfare. So the Hittites introduced the casting of iron with molds and then hammering it with enabled weapons and tools to be made stronger and also cheaper. So also the chariots had been used previously. The use of spoked wheels allowed the chariots to be much lighter and more maneuverable. So in 1274 BC, the Hittites clashed with the Egyptians at the Battle of Kadesh, where both sides claimed victory. But after, in around 1207, the Hittite capital of Atusa was sacked, ending the Hittite Empire. Looking at Israel, so Israel and Judah were related Iron Age kingdoms of the ancient Levant and had existed during the Iron Age periods and the Neo-Babylonian, Persian, and Hellenistic periods. So the name Israel first appears in the seal of the Egyptian pharaoh Meneptah around the 1209 BC. So this Israel was a cultural and probably a political entity of the Central Highlands, well established to be perceived by the Egyptians as their possible challenge to their hegemony, but an ethnic group rather than an organized state. So it was just an ethnic group that were threatening Egyptians. So let us look at Egypt. So ancient Egypt was a long-lived civilization geographically located in northeastern Africa. It was concentrated along the middle to lower reaches of the Nile River, reaching its greatest extent during the second millennium BC, and extension to the geographical range of ancient Egyptian civilization included at different times areas, including the areas of southern Levant, the eastern desert, and the Red Sea coastline, including the Sinai Peninsula and the western desert. So looking at China, so the Chinese civilization that emerged within the Yellow River Valley is one of the earliest civilizations in the world. So prior to the formation of civilization, Neolithic cultures such as the Longshan and Yangshao dating to 5000 BC produced sophisticated pottery, cultivated milk, and likely they produced clothes woven from hemp and silk. So let us also look at Mesoamerica. So agricultural cultivation began around 8000 BC in Mesoamerica, where avocados, beans, chili peppers, and squashes were grown from about 7000 BC. So around 4000 BC, maize began to be grown, and soon after there were tomatoes. So settlements around 3000 BC, and by 2000 BC, most of Mesoamerica was practicing agriculture. So let us look at the nomads and the Iron Age peoples. So the Celts were a diverse group of tribal societies in Iron Age Europe. So Proto-Celt culture formed in early Iron Age in Central Europe, and these were Huns, who were also nomadic people who formed a large state in Eastern Europe by about 400 AD, and under their leader Attila. So they fought against both the sections of the Roman Empire. But after Attila's death, the state fell apart and the Huns' influence in history also disappeared. So let us look at religion and philosophy. So this started with the institutional sponsorship of belief in gods, supernatural forces, and the afterlife. So this was mostly recorded during the Bronze Age, where many civilizations adopted their own form of polytheism. So usually, polytheistic gods manifested human personalities, strengths, and failings. So early religion was often based on location, with cities or entire countries selecting a deity that would grant them preferences and advantages over their competitors. So worship involved the construction of representation of deities and granting of sacrifices. And these sacrifices included material goods, food, or extreme cases of human sacrifice. So let us look at science and technology in the ancient periods. So ancient technological progress began before the recording of history, with tools, use of fire, domestication of animals, and agriculture all predating recorded history. So the use of metals and ability to make metal alloys was foundational for later technologies to develop. Also, medical knowledge, including the use of herbs to treat illnesses and wounds, as well as some surgical techniques, advanced during antiquity. So, an early, very important development that allowed for further advancement was writing, which allowed humans to record information for later use. So we have attached the reading materials for this chapter. In case you want to understand more, you can go ahead and make research using these materials. That's all for now. Thank you.